everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Alabama Dissident Christian Podcast with me, your host, Jack Milton. Our topic for this evening is going to be rootlessness. But before I get into that, just to give you a little background, I hope within the next couple of days to have our third and final installment of Zoomers Making It Happen. I have another Zoomer interview challenging the stuff they have to deal with, adversity, and making it happen. Episode 4, the subject matter for this short episode is going to be rootlessness. And let me give you a little background on what I'm talking about here, because I don't know that anybody uses that word in the context that I'm using. Maybe they do, but in contemporary America, regionalism is a concept that it's out of step with most people. Regionalism, by that I mean embracing regional identity. For example, a person that has an accent typical of one's geographical area, you have the local accent, and that person's considered unsophisticated, right? And you sound like a hick if you talk like people from here. With the advent of television in the 1950s, children who grow up on a steady diet of television had their speech affected by the way people spoke on television. They're developed in many places over generations, greater homogeny in local dialects and the erosion of regional distinctives across the United States. Simply put, people gradually sounded and looked more alike over time, and if you retained the regional dialect, you were low class, you were a hayseed. Also at this time, greater economic opportunities made moving from one place to another much more feasible for common people. If the job provided for an increase in living standard, people had no problem moving from Seattle to Miami or from Bangor, Maine to Los Angeles. Moving from region to region has become a commonplace activity in America. Add to this, too, small-town rural brain drain. Let me give you some background on that. So in the 1960s, when immigration was opened up, one of the things that was boasted that America would benefit from was that we would get the best and brightest from other countries. We'd get the best and brightest from all over to immigrate to the United States. We wanted the best people from abroad to come to America. The nations that were losing their educated elite to the U.S. or to other Western nations were said to be suffering from brain drain. In the same way, small town and rural America have long experienced the same kind of brain drain as foreign countries did with immigration. Who do you know that went away to college and graduate school for 4 years plus, however long graduate school takes, ever came back to the hometown to make a career? Very few people. Graduates understand that the opportunities to advance in their field of study most likely going to be in the top 30 or so large U.S. metropolitan areas, and they spend their lives in these areas from there on. Does that not sound like globalism in miniature? But instead of being yet another individual who moves from wherever to get ahead, whose main ambition is personal advancement, which I will include, because there's no other model that's shown to people for them to live. There's nothing else that's demonstrated for them as an example of what to do. Everybody does it because everybody does it. There's no other alternative. What about being from somewhere? What about going to the place that you're from and embracing the locality as a part of your identity and putting roots down? Before the post-war boom, college graduates often returned to their small town or rural community and went into local business or became the mayor or practiced law. There were still vestiges of the days where being a part of the region or having a local identity with being a part of the continuum of the generations there, and that you and your family are established there for the betterment and enrichment of that place that you live in. This is of particular significance to Christians. Contemporary attitudes about participation in Christian worship are colored by consumerist attitudes. Churches are merely providers of goods and services, so we find what we want and make our order cafeteria style to satisfy what we like as a Christian consumer. In contrast to this, the regional or localist view is that you intentionally put roots down for your family, and that in this you also seek to perpetuate Christianity in your home region. As the New Testament frequently compares conversion and maintaining Christian life to farming, we must recognize that Christianity on the regional level requires new seasons of continued planting and periodical maintenance. A person plants their family in the home region and seeks to replant, reestablish, and renew the faith there. That is the goal. There's no guarantee that Christianity will continue to flourish in an area if there's not a conscious effort of continued renewal. The end goal is that the identity of your people are that all those people from so-and-so county, they're all Christians. They are not addicts. They are not gay. They're not blue-haired activists. They are Christians. That's what you want. Plugging your life into a multi-generational project of Christian renewal is the basis for a renewal of Christian community. If we are all just Christian couch potatoes with no vision for replenishing or for renewal, we become an increasingly beleaguered minority that faces what Aaron Wren referred to as negative world. So being rooted from where you're from, being from where you're at now, is key in the development of Christian community. It is also key in reestablishing a shared identity for Christians in a particular region, in opposition to the atomized individualism that's described in Andrew Isker's book, The Boniface Option. If people are all like subatomic particles floating in the social ether, then they're more likely to fall prey to political manipulation and control. So think about your own identity. Who are you anyway? Where are you from? Who are your people? Do you have a people? What is the state of Christianity in the place where you live? Could you tell if you wanted to know? Does consumerism appear to be the predominant characteristic, or is a caretaker mentality the predominant characteristic in Christianity where you live? You have agency to change, to affect, and there are things that you can do to change it, but it takes effort. That's the bottom line. Christian life takes effort, but these things are changeable, and you can affect them. So that's the conclusion. My short discourse on being from somewhere and on regionalism. So don't forget to like the podcast, tell all your friends, tell all your enemies, and subscribe to us. Really appreciate it. A podcast is intended to be a means in which dissident Christianity and right wing can network in Alabama. If you're in the vicinity of Huntsville, Alabama, please come and visit us at Hopewell Baptist Church. I am not the pastor. I'm a mere layperson, but come on down. Anyway, thanks a lot for listening to the podcast, guys. Have a great evening.